So I'm hearing a little beep. Is that coming from you, Abby? Someone who's unmuted has a little beep.
No, it comes from Don Monroe's phone.
Oh, so, oh, look, I can mute him because I'm a host. All right.
Yeah, are you getting a lot of feedback from my, I'll just mute myself.
I've been walking with my face turned to the sun. Weight on my shoulders, a bullet in my gun. Oh, I got eyes in the back of my head, just in case I have to run. I do what I can when I can, while I can for my people. While the clouds roll back and the stars fill the night, that's when I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. Can you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer? Gonna keep on keeping on. I can feel it in my bones. Early in the morning, before the sun begins to shine, we're gonna start moving towards that separating line. I'm wading through muddy waters. You know I got a made up mind, and I don't mind if I lose any blood on the way to salvation. And I fight with the strength that I got until I die. So I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. Can you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer? Gonna keep on keeping on. And I know what's around the bend might be hard to face, 'cause I'm alone, and I just might fail, but Lord knows I'll try. Shine stars fill up the sky. Stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. Can you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer? Gonna keep on keeping on. I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far prepare a place for you. I go to prepare a place for you.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Paint Branch Unitarian Universalist Church. We will all be muted. And if you joined us just a few minutes ago, we watched a short video by the Georgia School of Dance and Theater, dancing to Stand Up by Cynthia Erivo. So again, good morning to all, and a special hello to any visitors with us this morning. I am Ebony Contreras, your worship associate. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. I am part of a team that works with service leaders and staff to craft and produce our worship services. We strive to be a welcoming congregation. We are from all over. Our families have come from different countries. Among us, we have a range of sexualities, a range of shapes and sizes, appearances, identities. We also have differing physical abilities. We have different theologies and philosophies. We have been waiting for you to join us here. Speaking of here, we acknowledge that the land where our church building stands is the ancestral home to the Piscataway people who settled this region thousands of years ago, extending from the Potomac River toward the Chesapeake Bay. Whatever brought you online this morning, we are glad you are here. We are recording on Facebook Live and Zoom. Paint Branch UUC also has our own YouTube channel. We invite you to participate from your home in singing, sharing in chalice lighting, and sharing joys and sorrows in the chat. All questions are also welcome in the chat too. So if you want to know more also about the eighth principle of Unitarian Universalism, which is an initiative that helps create an inclusive, beloved community, please attend the next meeting of our Diversity and Anti-Racism Transformation Team, otherwise known as DART. You can also see the weekly continuum for DART news and events. To get to know us better, please send your contact information to engagement@pbuuc.org. That's engagement@pbuuc.org. Now for announcements. Our annual meeting is today after service. The Zoom link is not the same as worship service for today. And please note that the waiting room opens at 11:30 and the meeting is from noon until 2 p.m. Only members can attend, but friends and visitors can watch via Facebook Live. Voting will not happen during the meeting. Members will get a separate email to vote at the conclusion of the meeting. Voting will close on Tuesday, June 8th at 6 p.m. This will be the second year that we meet via Zoom to discuss the affairs of the church over the past and the coming year, and we're going to be electing members to leadership positions. The link to the Zoom meeting will be posted in the Paint Branch UUC's online calendar of events, along with the documents relating to those topics that we'll be discussing. Second announcement. There is a free eighth principle 2-hour online learning and conversation workshop being held on Saturday, June 12th from 10 a.m. until noon. It's endorsed by the UUA, and you can find the link to register in the chat, which I'll put there shortly. You can also go to the UUA website and look it up. It's the first UU-wide vote on the adoption of the eighth principle, which will actually be in 2023. So it's a long way away, but we still are doing a lot of discerning as a faith denomination. So you'll find that if you go to the UUA website, and also again, I'll put it in the chat in a few minutes. So right now in the chat, please say how many people are in attendance via your connection. This helps us confirm how many people are attending services today. And as we put how many people are attending in chat, I also want to share that after service, you'll be invited to a break room during our virtual coffee hour, but that actually depends on when we end today. So I'll clarify that as we get to the end of service. So while you're putting in how many people are in chat, I would like you to turn on your camera if you're comfortable and just say hello to everybody. The eighth principle. We, the member congregations of the Unitarian Universalist Association, covenant to affirm and promote journeying towards spiritual wholeness by working to build a diverse, multicultural, beloved community by our actions that accountably dismantle racism and other oppressions in ourselves and our institutions. Now, our call to worship. Beloved Paint Branch, may we come into worship together. Today's service will help us center us in gratitude for the years of work many of our fellow Unitarian Universalists have been doing around the country. Their work has been to help create a deep change, a culture of beloved community within our denomination and within their own congregations. Over 50 other congregations and growing have answered the call to build a diverse, multicultural, beloved community. They have answered the call to accountably dismantle racism and other oppressions. They have answered the call to look within themselves and their institutions to use their voice, to use their vote, to declare and prioritize the sacred importance of supporting a diverse, beloved community. They have answered the call by voting yes to adopting the eighth principle. Today after service, we will have our annual meeting. Today after service, you will have the opportunity to vote, to say yes to the eighth principle. Can we, as a community, join our other UU siblings in answering the call for genuine inclusivity? May we join our other UU siblings in answering the call to commitment, the call to start our journey of beloved community, the call of the eighth principle of Unitarian Universalism. In a moment, Nori Mirdran Ward will light our chalice. Nori has been a member of Paint Branch since she was a toddler. When she's not being a worship associate, she enjoys playing video games and role-playing games like Dungeons and Dragons. At the last women's retreat that we held, Nori taught a very, very well-received workshop called Sex, Gender, and Sexuality, Biology and Booty Calls. Nori is in high school. She's in the international baccalaureate program where they're working on a special 2-year project that will address equity versus equality in the school system. Nori, may you light our chalice, please.
Good morning, Paint Branch, and happy Pride Month. I got it, you. All right. Come on. Please recite the words of our chalice lighting along with me at home. We light the chalice to celebrate Unitarian Universalism. This is the church of the open mind, the helping hands, the loving heart, and the radiant spirit. Encendamos este cáliz para celebrar el unitarismo universalismo. Esta es la iglesia de la mente abierta, de las manos amigas, del amor, del corazón y del espíritu radiante.
Thank you, Nori. And now we will hear some special music, Stand Up, performed by XZ Cam and Zuriel, followed by a story and conversation for all ages called What is the Eighth Principle by Meg McGuire.
I've been walking with my face turned to the sun. Weight on my shoulders, bullet in my gun. Well, I got eyes in the back of my head, just in case I have to run. Yeah. I do what I can when I can, while I can for my people. While the clouds roll back and the stars fill the night, that's when I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home. Far across the river, can you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer? Gonna keep on keeping on. I can feel it in my bones. Early in the morning, before the sun begins to shine, we're gonna start moving towards the separating line. I'm wading through muddy waters. You know I got a made up mind, and I don't mind if I lose any blood on the way to salvation. And I'll fight with the strength that I got until I die. And I know what's around the bend might be hard to face, 'cause I'm alone. And I just might fail, but I try. Sure stars fill up the sky. I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a new home. Across the river, can you hear them calling? To answer the key, but keeping on. I can feel it in my bones. Feel it in my bones. I can feel it in my bones. Feel it in my bones. I can feel it in my bones.
What is the eighth principle? Well, you know our 7 principles, right? They're things that matter to us. Things that guide how we are as a community, how we treat each other, and what we want to bring more of into the world. Just like each of us is always learning and growing, we know our principles have to grow sometimes too. This is the story of the 8th principle. A few years ago, some UU leaders spoke up. They told us these principles we love, they left something out. Like many who'd come before them, they spoke about how people still aren't being treated fairly because of the color of their skin, or where they come from, or other things that make them who they are. And that happens not only in the world at large, but even in our congregations, even in this one. So we need to do more to make sure that all people can feel welcome and loved here. We need to say more about our commitments to fight against racism, because racism hurts everybody. In fact, it hurts all 7 of our principles. And so, the 8th principle was born. The 8th principle is a commitment to fight against racism and oppression, and to build a beloved community of love and trust and belonging here in our church and in the world around us. We're going to be talking about the 8th principle a lot this spring, learning about it and what it means for this community. What does the 8th principle mean to you?
Our worship service today centers around the proposed 8th principle of Unitarian Universalism. The question being asked is, what does the 8th principle mean to you, to me, to us? I don't know the depth of your heart of what it means to you, but I have a pretty good idea of what it can mean for our community. I know what it means to me. First off, the 8th principle is actually a very simple concept. It's about practicing what we preach. It's about committing to actually do what we already said we believe we should be doing. This makes it an easy yes for me. I recognize, though, it may not be such an easy yes for everyone. To say we believe in something and that something is a worthy cause is very different from saying, let's stop talking about it and actually do something about it. I'm ready to get to work. As a community, our website, our hymnals, our everything says that we intend and hope that we will be and that we are a beloved community. Adopting the 8th principle moves us away from good intention to committed action. Good intentions are the first step. Good intentions matter. They are important. We need them. We also need to make an impact. We can have good intentions, but what is even more important is the impact of those intentions. Let's have an impact. Let's finally do what many of us have already been feeling in our hearts. Let's move our intentions to action. Let's vote. That said, we have not voted yet. Technically, we have until Tuesday, June 8th at 6 p.m. to cast our ballots. Despite us not voting yet, I'm just going to declare, I'm going to speak it into being that we have passed the 8th principle, that we have adopted it. And when we do, may we know that Paint Branch's adoption of the 8th principle is not a promise. We're not promising results or anything like that. Paint Branch's adoption of the eighth principle is a commitment to begin a journey together to make meaning of what a beloved community looks like to us and how we might work together to make beloved community happen at Paint Branch. It's a commitment to start. It's not the end, it's a beginning. It's one of those moments when actions speak louder than words. It's one of those moments when we can practice what we preach. It's one of those moments when we can have a direct impact on what our larger denomination does. Grassroots, bottom up, an opportunity to join together with like-minded sibling congregations in a clear voice to declare we are ready to do the work together. During service today, we will hear a brief reflection from Paula Hughes. She's a youth member in our RE program, and she will share with us her perspective on the eighth principle and why she thinks it's important. Paula will remind us that adopting the eighth principle demonstrates our dedication as a community to address these sensitive issues of belonging and inclusion. She will share with us that not adopting the eighth principle, in her view, is like saying all lives matter, which is not specific enough, which dismisses the experiences of people who are oppressed and marginalized. Fallon reminds us that being accountable shows our loyalty to beloved community and to each other. She says the eighth principle lets all people know where your views stand. So where do you stand? Where will we as a community stand? We will find out very soon. I pray that the community that has held me, the community that I have connected with, that I have bonded with, I pray that my Paint Branch community will live up to our values, will live up to the expectation that what we say matters because we do what we say. That with our vote, make clear to me, make clear to the members of our community who are diverse in racial, ethnic, educational, class, gender, ability, sexual orientation, all identities, make clear to us who are not in the majority that we are not just welcome, that we are not just welcome at Paint Branch. We are Paint Branch. That Paint Branch is not just letting us into your spiritual community, that we are a part of the communities, of this community, in all ways, in all love that connects our community, that makes us who we are, that connects us with our deepest why. Why do we do? Why are we here? Why do we keep moving forward with each other despite our ups and downs, despite the pandemic, despite our budget, despite our deck, despite our minister's resignation, despite multiple part-time ministers in between, despite our racial climate report, despite mice droppings in the church office, which has since been cleaned. Thank you very much to those volunteers who braved that ordeal. We continue on, not despite of our ups and downs, but because of our resilience, because of our hearts, because no matter what happens, we are one small, we are one very mighty Unitarian Universalist church. What does the eighth principle mean to you, to me, to us? By Tuesday, June 8th at 6 p.m., may we vote our conscience. If our heart is full of longing and commitment to beloved community, may we also vote yes to renew our commitment to be a welcoming community, LGBTQ+. The first vote of yes is not in the ballot, it's in our hearts. May we vote yes with our hearts. May we vote yes with our ballot. May we open ourselves, despite any doubts or fears, to the deep power in which we exist, to the care that cares for all. May the unfolding grace give us the strength to continue to endure all of our despite ofs and hold us in a safe space of wisdom, of clarity, of love as we discern.
Good morning. My name is Jim Flaherty, a member of the Pastoral Care Associates team. Let's now turn our minds inward to consider recent life events and the emotions they may evoke in us. These can range from the so-called positive emotions, such as joy, happiness, contentment, to the so-called negative emotions, such as anger, sadness, and fear, all reflecting the broad spectrum of human experience. If you find that you're struggling with difficult emotions, you may reach out to Reverend Lynn Strauss for pastoral counseling. And if you want caring support from a member of the Pastoral Care Associates team, you can find our contact information posted now in the chat. In the spirit of developing an ever stronger community, you may want to share a recent experience with the wider congregation. Please use the chat function on your screen now to share your joys and sorrows as we listen to the intonation. I want to note a change in the musical selections listed in an early version of the order of service. The piece, We Are Family, will come during the offertory. But now for the intonation, David Chapman will play Ebony and Ivory by Paul McCartney and Stevie Wonder. We'll now allow for 30 seconds of silent meditation to acknowledge all that has been shared, as well as those joys and sorrows which were not expressed at this time. May we hold one another in love and kindness, so that this congregation may be a source of strength and comfort, courage and hope in the days and weeks ahead.
As UU people, we have different principles, and some of them may indirectly reflect and acknowledge the issue of racism in our society. Principles such as number 1, 3, 5, and 6. However, we have a new proposed principle addressing racism, one that is clear and specific, highlighting this issue. The principle mentions 2 ideas I think that are important. A, the idea of promoting this value within our own spiritual community, as well as in the public. It dedicates our community towards addressing this under-recognized issue. And B, accountability, helping us stay focused on the anti-racism actions that are required by this principle. To me, not having this principle included in our values and moral guides is like saying all lives matter. I think that we all know this is clearly not specific enough. This principle gets the idea across directly so that there can be no mistake. That yes, we do mean those lives too. Every member of our diverse and multicultural society. So the 8th principle lets all people know where UU stand. Now we have to talk about accountability. If we are to prove ourselves responsible for undoing racism and other oppressions in ourselves and institutions, we will be accountable to each other to uphold this principle. We will need to know by our work on this issue and by the way we treat each other. This idea of accountability includes within the idea of loyalty. Pursuing this justice shows our loyalty to anti-racism and each other. Our work to promote is a step forward to a safer, more welcoming culture. Here at PBUUC, and as we promote it, we change the habits and culture of the world.
Thank you, Paula. Yes, I love that. Yes. Well, Paint Branch, so I am very excited to introduce today's speaker, Paula Cole Jones. Paula Cole Jones is a lifelong Unitarian Universalist and a management consultant with over 20 years of experience in designing and facilitating workshops and dialogues for leaders and organizations. She is an innovator of institutional change. In 1999, Paula founded ADORE, a dialogue on race and ethnicity. Her work includes being a leader in advancing the 8th principle and the community of communities as practices of the beloved community. Paula is the author of a UU World Magazine cover story, Reconciliation as a Spiritual Discipline. She is also the editor of a Skinner House book, Encounters, Poems about Race, Ethnicity, and Identity. And she's a contributing author to 3 other Skinner House books, including the UUA Common Read, Justice on Earth. Amen. Now please join us in singing hymn 194, Faith is a Forest. Thank you, David, so much for that. The mission of this church carries on in these uncertain times and is more important than ever. We are so grateful to have the financial support of our members and friends. Please give as generously as you are able. The information for giving to Paint Branch will be posted in the chat window. This information can also be found in the online order of service. The offertory music will be We Are Family by Sister Sledge and composed by Nile Rogers and Bernard Edwards.
well know that.
Thank you, David. We are family. That we are. That we are. Our closing words come from Dreaming Accountability, written by Maya Mingus. What if accountability wasn't scary? It will never be easy or comfortable, but what if it wasn't scary? What if our own accountability wasn't something we ran from, but something we ran towards and desired, appreciated, held as sacred? What if we embraced accountability as a magnificent example of what it means to be human and flawed and in relationship with one another? What if we welcome the quickening of our pulse and the beat of our heart as signals of being alive and caring and what is most important to us, our relationships with each other? What if we listen to that fear of losing someone important to us or losing ourselves? What if accountability wasn't rooted in punishment, revenge, or superficiality, but rooted in our values, growth, transformation, healing, freedom, and liberation? What if the work of accountability was held as so supremely sacred that people who got to practice it, truly practice it, were considered lucky, and those who had the honor of supporting it and witnessing it were also changed for the better from its power? What if we understand that no amount of tough love or punishment could ever hold a candle to the long and hard labor, fear, and pain of facing our demons and our traumas? What if we learn to desire the challenging and the transformative? What if accountability wasn't scary? It will never be easy or comfortable, but what if it wasn't scary? What if our own accountability wasn't something we ran from, but something we ran towards and desired, appreciated, and held sacred? What if we cherished accountability as precious opportunities to practice liberation, to practice love? Amen. Now, let's enjoy our closing music, Spirit of Life, performed by All Souls Unitarian Music and Media Team.
When
I extinguished the chalice with words from Martha Munson, though I don't think I'm pronouncing that right, found on the UAF website. We extinguish the chalice here that it might glow gently in our hearts. May it light your path as you leave this place. May it guide your way until we are together again.
Thank you, Nori. Now, usually we'd invite you to join us for virtual coffee hour in breakout rooms, but we're at 11:16 and we anticipated we might go over a little bit today because today's a very special service. Today is our annual meeting as well. And so we want to make sure that everyone has a chance to take a little break in between now and the annual meeting. So you will not see the breakout room invitations. I'm going to remain in this main room for maybe another 5 or so minutes. But then please do take a break, get some water, and come back. And we really hope to see you at the annual meeting, which is not the same link as this. So again, the annual meeting link is not the same link as this. You'll see that link in our calendar of events on our website. And you should have also received it in your email as well.